What is the best country to move to in 2026? I recently came across a survey from InterNations that listed the top 10 of best countries for expats for this year. And I thought, this is interesting. Let me sit down here on the floor. It's a hot summer day and this is the coolest area of my house. And actually go through that list, give you my very honest take of it, including my reasons why you shouldn't be looking at that list. So let's dive in, shall we? Here we go. This is the Expat Insider Survey from InterNations. And if you don't know InterNations, they are a global community bringing expats and other internationals together all over the world. I've actually never attended one of their events, but I know for many people it's been a great way to meet new friends. And so apparently every year they also run a survey among their members. And I've actually seen this list a couple of times, but this year it really caught my eye for some reason. I saw someone post about it on LinkedIn. And like I said, I have an opinion on these kinds of lists, and including one why you shouldn't be looking at them, but I'll dive into that in a moment. This survey is a subjective one, and so they ask their members, what is it like living there for you? How do you feel in it? So they ask things about work-life culture, work satisfaction or work culture satisfaction, some financial things, safety, but these are not objective things they're looking at. So when it comes to safety, they're not looking at the criminal rates, they're just asking their members, how safe do you feel in this country? And well, I have an opinion on that, as I said, but let's just actually go to the top 10 first. Here we go. Number 1 this year is Panama. It kind of doesn't surprise me because I've been hearing things about Panama here and there. I have a friend who moved there already 2 years ago and she's absolutely loving it. And so there are apparently lots of reasons why the expats in this survey put Panama on 1. If you're living there too, I would love to hear from you, by the way. Number 2 is Mexico, which I totally understand because I'm also planning to move there. And I spent a bit of time there last winter and I absolutely loved it. Number 3 is Thailand, and then we have the Arab Emirates, Brazil, I also lived there, Spain, Singapore, Portugal, Malaysia, and Luxembourg. And my own country, the Netherlands, is ranking number 21. Now you see there are only 31 countries in the list total. And they're pretty heavily focused on Europe, I would say. So let's start with a very objective reason why I believe you shouldn't be looking at those lists. And yes, I do think it is great that these surveys are done. Don't get me wrong. It's good that InterNations is doing this because it's good to spot some trends. And there's also not great data on expat movements and their reasons to move, etc. And so it is good that there is some attempt to get this done. And it's also interesting to see how things are shifting over time. But here is where I want to go to with you. Where is it? The methodology. So you see that the survey was completed by nearly 8,000 expats worldwide. And so while 8,000 I think is a pretty significant number for a global community to have those results, well done InterNations, it is not really reflective of the population that lives outside of their countries. And so that is already where I feel it's going wrong because it's not a great statistics. And what we're also seeing is they wanted to have a sample size of at least 50 survey participants per destination, and therefore only 31 destinations met this requirement. Now that makes sense. But if you think about it, 50 people talking about one country, the country doesn't exist of one city. You know, I spent some time in Mexico City, which I absolutely love, but I also spent a weekend in Cancun and in Playa del Carmen, and it was a very, very different experience. And I know lots of people who have spent time in Tulum and I don't know where else. And whatever I saw on Instagram is such a big contrast of my daily life that I was experiencing in Mexico City. So 50 survey participants that say something about different cities, different regions in the country, but it really doesn't say a lot actually. Now, I also want to go here. And I'm really not roasting this survey completely because, again, I do believe it is a good attempt to map these kind of things a little bit more. But okay, gender split, that's pretty good. Now here you see the family status. 80% of the participants didn't have dependent children abroad with them. And if you, and we're going to be talking about that in a moment, if you do have kids, that's really going to change how you view the country. And so while Panama or Mexico, or I forgot number 3, they, are in the top 3, if you are traveling with young kids or moving abroad with young kids, it might actually be a whole different top 3 for you, because the participants did not have those kids. Now, relationship singles pretty even, but you also see 83% had a university degree. So that's another, imbalance there. And the average age was almost 50. Now that, I don't know about you, I'm 38, but I would look at these countries very differently now compared to when I was 21 and moved abroad. And I'm sure I'll do the same when I'm 50. And so this is really where I already start to feel, can you really take this list so seriously for your own research? Because that's why we're looking at this now. Again, I think it's great that they're mapping it out and using a survey every year. But if you're using the list for your own input, for your own search, this is where I think you shouldn't be doing that. Now, also what you're seeing here, the most common nationalities of the survey participants, most of them were American, and the rest, almost all of them, were European, except for Indian, Canadian, Russian, and Brazilian. Now, there's some mix there, thankfully, but where is Africa? Where is the rest of Asia? Where is Brazil is there, Latin America. But again, you experience a country, you can experience it so differently. An American compared to an Indian, a South African compared to a Moroccan, Argentinian compared even with a Colombian. There are so many differences, and this is also really how you fill out this survey is indirectly influence also where you're coming from. So these are the things I really want you to know already with this list. But I want to go a little bit deeper, because if you are using this list for your own research, I want you to stop doing it. Where is the list? Here. Because, it's great to hear about why Panama is number 1. Oh yeah, Thailand was number 3. I'm not quite sure what they're saying, but best work-life balance. There are multiple reasons why Panama is the number 1, but it's not going to say anything about you. And here's where I want to go to as well. Yeah, it's here. So the primary motivation for moving abroad, you see, it's only 4% that actually wants to live in this country and picked it because of that. Here are their reasons, but you see that number 1 reason why people are moving is because they applied for or found a job there, or they had other reasons to move for their job. And the other reason is mainly their relationship or their family. And so your job, your career, that is so personal. Let me go back to the big screen again. So as I was saying, your job or your love life or your family, that is such a personal reason to move abroad. And yeah, sure, you might pick a country because you feel like, okay, I want to move abroad. Now, where are my best chances professionally? But is that really just about the country, or is it more about your sector and your skills and your qualifications and where that's going to work for you? And this is where I don't like these lists, because if there's anything that we do inside my world, inside my community, with my clients that I work with, I'm a life coach for expats, is that we are being super intentional about our global life, because it is a privilege to move abroad, and we want to create a life that really, really suits us, one that we feel truly at home in. And if you want to create a really authentic life, you want to make choices that are intentional and that really match who you are. And if you look at this list, or if you're browsing the internet, what is the best country to move to? I don't believe you are being really intentional. Yeah, of course, you are intentional in your search. You're putting in an effort. But you can only be intentional, or you can only make intentional choices, let me put it that way, if you know what really matters to you. Because if you're just doing what the mass is doing or what the top 10 is telling you is the best country, you're not being intentional for yourself. You're just taking someone else's advice along. And so if you want to look at what country am I supposed to move to, you really have to get so clear on what you value in life. Is it when you have young kids that your kids can grow up in safety and have a lot of freedom? Then the Netherlands might be a good country for you. Or is it that you really value ambition around you and big city vibes? That's me currently. Do you really value great weather and that people are just so friendly to each other and that there's a sense of community? Or do you really want to be able to express yourself clearly and that you don't need to learn another language? These are all highly personal reasons. And this is really why I believe you cannot look at this top 10 and be like, oh yeah, Panama is number 1. Actually, let me read a little. This sounds great for me as well, because I do value whatever they are saying there, the work-life balance and the weather and some other things. Sure, these things are important to you, but you've got to be really specific on what is actually important to you and then do proper digging. Because like I said, your experience in, for example, Mexico City is going to be so different from your experience in Tulum. And even within a city or a village, you can have different experiences. It really depends on the neighborhood that you're going to live in. And so this is why the top 10 is not working for your search. And if you want to move abroad, I would really not start with your outward search. I would start within. I would really start writing things down. What do I value in life? What is a non-negotiable for me? But also, what do I want my next chapter to be about? Because maybe what you value now or have done in the past is not what you want to continue valuing in the future, because maybe you're ready for a personal reinvention, for example. So yeah, I always like to say it's from the inside out, and I believe that choosing your next country starts there too. And the top 10 is a nice little thing maybe to spark your search, because I would have maybe not thought of Thailand or Panama. And maybe, this could give me some extra input and open my mind a little bit. But the search really starts within. And once you have clear what you want, then you're going to look and also what is possible for you. That's another thing, passport privilege. And also your professional experience, if it can work there. Once you have clear what you want, then you're going to have that framework, and this is what you're going to have as a filter for your search. And then you're going to do your proper research, not with top 10s, but with really getting to know people who live there. Join Facebook groups of expats or internationals in a country, in a city, even better. Ask them about neighborhoods, ask them about childcare. Go to Reddit forums and threads and have a look there, because there's so much information there. Ask people if they know people who live there. Ask your friends, use your network, go on LinkedIn. This is really the best way for you to do your research and to find out where it is that you want to live. So yeah, use the top 10 for, just some fun inspiration. Maybe take a look at the answers. Maybe something is going to surprise you if you really value work-life balance. Maybe there's a country popping up that you never even thought about. But for your real search, please rely on something else. By the way, if you like these kind of videos and my opinions, make sure to subscribe, because there is more coming.